Alright, still trucking along on these Patreon requests, and this one comes from my good friend, Chris, aka the Mount Vernon Kid, who asked me to do a movie ranking, like a ranking of the movies. And of course, the movies we're going to be talking about is ranking the Scream movies, which is actually pretty easy since there's only 5. Now, as always, if you would like to have a request done by me, just hit the link below to my Patreon and hit the 4th tier, and once you do, you can get all the exclusive content over on Patreon and send me a request to do here on YouTube. So, without further ado, let's get started with, as always, as with most of these rankings, is that I am going to be ranking them from least favorite to favorite, and if you think a movie should be higher or lower on the list, that's totally fine. I'm always excited to hear yours, and yeah. So let's get started with our first, with the lowest rank out here, and to no one's shock, it's Scream 3. Scream 3 was definitely like the weakest entry. It's by and far, like most Scream fans' weakest entry. The secret brother, the convoluted movie direction, it was pretty bad. It's forgettable, and I've only seen it once, and I watched it once, and I was like, I have no intention of watching this again. And to be fair, I am not the biggest Scream fan. I do understand its value, I do understand all of this, and like I've said, I did my review on Scream 5 over on Patreon, that's where also the movie reviews are, I forgot to mention. Scream 5 was definitely like, wow, I'm not even a fan of this genre, and I love these movies. I'm not the biggest fan of the Scream movies, but I thought that was really good. But Scream 3 was definitely, like, when I think of boring Scream movies, Scream 3 was definitely, like, the high point of my argument for that. So Scream 3 was not good in any way, shape, or form. Moving on now to, let's move on to our next one on the list, and that is Scream 2. Scream 2, I know some people rank this as like their second favorite. I know a lot of people do, and this is probably very, it's almost like heresy, really. But Scream 2, to me, now, to be fair, I do, from here on, the next 4 movies I will watch again. Like, I do enjoy these to one extent or another. But Scream 3 is like the bottom tier, I'm not going to watch this again. But like, if Scream 2 is on, I'm going to watch that. If the others are on, I'm going to watch those. And Scream 2 is one of those movies, but the reason why it's a little lower is because that mostly it tries a little too hard to outdo itself, and I understand that's the kind of the running joke of the movie, is that it's trying really hard to outdo itself. It's trying to like, oh yeah, the sequel's got to go bigger and harder and all of that, but I just felt like it kind of missed the mark, and it almost fell into self-parody, at least for me. And also, killing off the best character from the first movie was also kind of bullshit. Just saying. I think it was more focused less on the characters and more of the whodunit, which I think the first Scream movie, that was what the big thing about the first Scream movie was, that it was more focused on being a character piece and explaining and talking about the rules than it was a whodunit. Which the series, this one more so than the first movie, definitely kind of opened the door to, like, it's more of a whodunit than it is a character study and, story study than anything else, really. So, moving on now to the middle of the road, and here we are at Scream 4. Scream 4 was so much fun because it's, in a weird way, it's kind of, it's interesting because this was one of the last movies I think it was the last movie Wes Craven did before he passed on. Scream 4 was a movie that really had a lot of fun poking fun at like the remake era of films, and it's a lovely little love letter. It's a love letter to all the other films before it. I do think it is kind of like a little predictable, but I will say this one is what I was kind of hoping for Scream 2 and Scream 3, in that it does kind of have those character moments, but I don't think it doesn't go that far. I think it also tries a little too hard to do the whole final girl flip, a little too hard, but it's still an enjoyable movie. I think this one does have some of the better kills of the franchise, just to saying. Moving on, so there we go. There's our middle of the road. So now we move on to our second one, and that is Scream 5, or just Scream 2022. Scream 5 was a movie that, like I said, I had expectations, but I didn't have the highest for them because I'm not the biggest Scream guy. But having seen this movie, I was like, oh yeah, this was really good. It's been the only movie I've seen in theaters so far of this year, but that might... yeah, there's a movie coming up this week. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called The Batman. I don't know. It's kind of sneaking up on everybody. But yeah, I really like the pacing of it. This is the most brutal ghost face we've had, and it's a beautiful tribute to Wes Craven's work, and I think it is definitely a labor of love. I think they got the perfect guys behind it. The people who directed Ready or Not, those were the perfect guys for this film, and I'm really excited to see what they'll do with Scream 6. I'm actually, very excited to see what they'll do with Scream 6. And yeah, it's funny because I watched this movie and it's very hard, like, because of how well it made fun of the it really turned on the whole requel thing and really played with all those aspects. And then I watched the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, and it's really easy to compare apples to oranges on that one, because that movie, Scream, did everything that it was supposed to do and told the story. Although I will say, when you see the characters, you're like, I already know who the killer is. Great. So you're just kind of waiting for the reveal. Like, the moment you see the killer, you see this character come in, you're like, I don't need to be told the details. I already know that's the killer. But it is a really fun movie. I really love it, and I'm kind of hoping we get I don't know. I hate getting box sets of movies, because it's never there's always that another movie gets announced. But if they ever announce like a box set of Scream movies, I might get them all because of Scream 5. Anyway, so obviously my top favorite movie is the original Scream movie, because of fucking course it is. It's Scream. Everyone knows the Drew Barrymore scene. This movie was what gave us the second renaissance of the 90s, early 2000s slasher films. It was definitely a film that really showed that Wes Craven could still be a great director. It had a wonderful cast behind it, and some excellent writing by Kevin Williamson. Even though I'm not the biggest Scream guy, I have nothing but respect and love for that movie. And yeah, honestly though, I will say that Scream and Scream 5 kind of fight over the top place, just saying. But anyway, so there you go, guys. That is pretty much my quick rankings of the Scream films. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what is your ranking for all the Scream movies? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, I'd like to thank Chris for sending me this request. Like I said, if you would like to have a request done here on YouTube, just go to the link below to my Patreon and hit the 4th tier. And from there, I might be able to do a video for you guys as soon as I get to it. It's a very big list. But don't worry, I do get to everyone's Patreon at one point or another. Anyway, other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.